everyone. Thank you for tuning in and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be talking about the overturning of Roe v. Wade. But before we get into that, I want to say please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And also, if you'd like to support me in any way, don't forget to click those links that I have down below in order to do so. And thank you for joining. Can we welcome our guests, Olivia Rondeau and Rhonda Mary? Can you guys say hi and introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Olivia Rondeau. I'm on Twitter at Rondo Olivia. I consider myself to be somewhere in between a conservative and libertarian, very big focused on freedom. Any way I can help the Black community, I think that in general it could be, moved forward by less government interference. So that's my perspective.
Rhonda.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Mary. Hey, y'all. I am a YouTuber and Second Amendment advocate. I talk about different type of issues as relates to like culture, politics, social media. I mean, pretty much entertainment, everything, and kind of thinking about how those things directly impact us as a community. And so that's what I do. And I recently got, well, I keep saying recently, but it's not super recent, but more recently been doing Second Amendment advocacy, really standing up and making sure we're learning more about our Second Amendment rights.
Well, again, thank you guys for joining me. And before we get started on the conversation, I want to read some facts. Now, I tried to learn how to do the screen sharing, but unfortunately, I can't do that because I'm on my phone, and usually people are on their laptop, and it's gonna cause an echo if I try to do that. So I'm just gonna read off of my computer instead. So, when was Roe v. Wade decided? It was decided on January 22nd, 1973, when the Supreme Court issued a 7-2 decision in favor of Jane Roe, holding that women in the United States had a fundamental right to choose whether to have abortions without excessive government restrictions, and striking down the Texas abortion ban as unconstitutional. And also, I'm going to give you some more facts on Roe v. Wade. So, since Roe v. Wade has been put into place, over 63 million abortions have occurred in the United States since the decision in 1973, and this is according to Fox. And that is nearly 900,000 abortions that occur every year. That is according to Parish Life News. Also, we're going to get into the specifics. When it comes to Black children, over 20 million Black children have died and been aborted since the establishment of Roe v. Wade. That's nearly 40% of abortions and around 400,000 a year. And also, people might say, and this is kind of the excuse that they bring up when it comes to why women should get abortions. They say, oh, well, what about rape and incest? Well, according to USA Today, just 1% of women have obtained abortions because they were raped, and less than 5% of those has to do with incest, according to the Guttmacher Institute. So now we're going to get into the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and I'm going to read the article that came out by Politico. And I'm reading it word for word, okay? It said the Supreme Court has voted to strike down the landmark Roe v. Wade decision, according to an initial draft majority opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito, circulated inside the court and obtained by Politico. The draft opinion is a full-throated, unflinching repudiation of the 1973 decision, which guaranteed federal constitutional protections of abortion rights in a subsequent 1992 decision. Basically, this says that we hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled, and they said that it is time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives. So people are getting all in a tizzy because they believe that if Roe v. Wade is canceled on the federal level, that they won't have access to abortions, but that's actually totally false. They're just basically giving the power of whether or not a woman can get an abortion or not. They're giving that power and the right to choose, I guess, to the states. Basically, they're giving the power back to the states. So, what are you guys' thoughts on this whole ordeal going on so far and people's reactions to it?
Well, to just start off, people's reactions to this are blown fully out of proportion. The main people who are so upset about this are liberal and live in liberal cities and liberal states. So if you're in New York, California, DC, Maryland, and you're screaming outside, the Supreme Court, and now give me my abortions, well, congrats, your state is not getting rid of abortions. It's going back to the states. So you're really freaking out for no reason here. And also, the leak that happened, I find pretty unethical. It's not necessarily a security breach, as some were saying, because it's not technically a classified document. However, the Supreme Court should be protected. It must have been leaked by either a law clerk, paralegal, somebody who works within the system. So to me, that breach of security does leave me feeling uneasy, because clearly it's to intimidate the justices into changing their decisions and changing their votes later on this summer when they actually will make the decision.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think this is a great point. I think that the leak specifically is happening at a very odd, peculiar timing. It's right in time where people are just now kind of getting over the whole mask thing. Since Joe Biden has gotten into office, nobody gives a crap about BLM anymore. They've been totally thrown under the bus. And so people need something to be energized about right in time for midterms. And so this is going to put people right back in the streets, protesting, looking for something to be mad about, looking for something to be angry about. I believe that this is the only reason why this leak happened at a time like this.
I'm gonna have to agree, and also I do think that this is gonna affect the midterms. Unfortunately, they always pull something like this before voting time happens. They always pull something like this. Literally, it's a occurring process that always happens, and I think people should understand or see that when it comes to this. But people don't know how to critically think. They don't know how to notice patterns. So it's interesting getting into the summer, especially to see people protesting or getting ready to protest. Going to be very interesting.
This is gonna be George Floyd was 2020. This is gonna be the 2022 version of that.
I have to agree. Do you guys think that this will affect the Supreme Court's decision in overturning Roe v. Wade by any chance? I personally don't think so, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts on it.
I would say most likely not. It's either going to be a 5-4 or a 6-3. So I think either way, it'll still happen.
Rhonda?
Yeah, I don't think Roe v. Wade is gonna be overturned. I just don't think it's gonna happen. I think that people have accepted, you know, a certain level of this now. I think that you have a country that is very polarized right now, and I just don't think that we're going to see people agree on this, across the board. I just don't think it's going to happen.
And speaking of polarization, you guys realize that the polarization, people are getting further and further from center. It's either extreme left or extreme right. It's never
Well, I
really
don't
center
know.
anymore, and it's
I
kind of
don't
weird.
know if I agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think you have algorithms that have baited people into this extreme right so they can sell products, they can sell personalities. I think that honestly, some of the least popular opinions when you talk to people in every regular day life seem to be the most popular when you get on places like Twitter.
So
And
basically, what you're saying is, do you think that the media is hyping up the extremes, basically?
yes, I think
Okay, well then,
overwhelmingly, if you talk to most people about abortion, I think most people are typically moderate. That's what I would consider myself when it comes to abortion. I won't say that abortion should outright be banned. I do think that it's something that I would like to see more on the local level. I would like to see people like, You ladies, other influencers talking to people, sharing resources, telling women the truth, telling women more about the PTSD that comes with this, the ins and outs of the procedures. Like, you have women that are 40 and 50 years after, like, post-abortion, still dealing with these issues emotionally. And I think us talking about these things can influence people on a local level. I'm just not a big fan of the role that government plays in this continuum of force and violence. I just generally don't think that's the answer. I think that breeds more hatred. I think that breeds more extreme.
So, that's one of the reasons why I'm actually for Roe v. Wade being canceled on the national or the federal level, because it gives the states their right to choose, which, okay, it's still government, but it's less government. It's it's like states. It's not even like federally. So that's why I'm for this basically being overruled.
I
Also,
think if you were to poll, I'm sorry, Olivia, I just want to say this one other thing. I think if you were to poll, like, most people, I think most people would most likely be open to the what is it, like, the first, I can't remember the exact
the
number,
heartbeat
somewhere
bill, it's
between
like the
like
first
12 weeks, the heartbeat bill.
yes,
I
I
think
agree with.
I I think that that's like a moderate position. And if you're talking to the everyday person, I think that you will find more people to be open to that, as
Right.
opposed to, yes, it's going to be more extreme to just outright ban abortion, right? Because
Right.
people
Because
are going
me,
to
I'm on
bring
the
up things.
extreme, but I know that's not everybody. But me,
Correct.
no, I'm on the extreme. Absolutely not.
And then it's also extreme to be like, take the baby out the womb, sit it on the table, see what you want to do with it. Like, you know what I mean? So the whole Ralph Northam thing, that's hella extreme. And so I think that most people, you talking to them on an everyday type of face-to-face basis, aren't going to usually take either of those positions.
Olivia, you want to say something?
I was just gonna say another reason why I'm pro the overturning of Roe v. Wade is so we can finally do away with the federal funding of Planned Parenthood. I don't think that anyone agrees that's constitutional, even if you're pro-choice. Even if you're pro-choice, I think everyone should be able to agree that the federal funding of Planned Parenthood, specifically Planned Parenthood, not even just like a regular off-brand abortion clinic, is just evil and wrong and disgusting given the history of Planned Parenthood. I mean, I'm sure everyone in this chat already knows about Margaret Sanger, so I won't even like beat the dead horse. But there are so many other.
No, beat the dead horse.
We're gonna beat it. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it.
You will be surprised how many people don't know this stuff.
They're not taught this in school. They're taught propaganda.
Somebody that nobody really talks about, who co-founded the American Birth Control League, which later became Planned Parenthood, with Margaret Sanger, is Lothrop Stoddard. I'm sure you two ladies probably have heard of him before because he's, in the very like niche center circles of pro-lifeness. But Lothrop Stoddard, for people who don't know, is called the first American Nazi. And he was called this because he was the inspiration for Hitler's book, Mein Kampf. He traveled from America to Nazi Germany several times to talk about eugenicism, racism, and abortion, and was basically giving Hitler some of the ideas he used to exterminate the Jews. So he co-founded Planned Parenthood with Margaret Sanger. People don't talk about him. Not sure why, but that's another thing that's just completely plainly evil about the federal government using our tax dollars, whether we're pro-choice, pro-life, whether we want our tax dollars being used for that specified purpose or not, and giving it to Planned Parenthood and putting them in Black neighborhoods. And it is disgusting. And I agree with you, Rhonda, when you're saying we just need to talk about it. We need more education. I disagree with a federal overreach, say we outlaw every single abortion. I think that most people can compromise and come to a 9-week or 12-week solution. I do think that there should be made exceptions for rape, incest, things like that within those, 9 to 12 weeks. I don't think babies, later in the second and third trimesters should be suffering, because abortion is completely different in the later trimesters and the first, few weeks in the first trimester. So at that point, when you're crushing the skull, ripping off limbs and sucking them with a vacuum, I mean, we're always talking about women's right to choose, women's right to choose. Let's specify what they are choosing. I wish doctors would be honest. I wish Biden, instead of saying we have to protect the woman's right to choose, I wish he would finish that sentence and say we have to respect the woman's right to choose to rip the limbs off the fetus, crush the skull, suck it out with a vacuum, and put it in a trash bag, because that's what they're doing in those second and third trimesters.
Right. And hey, we're not going to agree on everything. I don't agree when it comes to the rape and the incest part, because I believe that the child is just as much as a victim as the mother. But we do have our own opinions. So, I mean, not going to agree on everything. But I want to move on to if you guys have anything else to say before I move on? No. Okay, well, I want to move on to everybody's talking about this tweet, okay? This tweet by Miss Amanda Duarte, and I'm going to read the tweet verbatim, then we're going to get into this foolishness, okay? So, and I made a TikTok on there. You guys go look at that. But she said, which is absolutely bogus, she said, "I do wonder how these white supremacist lawmakers would feel if their little white daughters were raped and impregnated by black men." The audacity. You could have, first of all, you could have just said men. You didn't have to say black men. But it's not surprising, because a lot of people that act like her, white liberals, these white liberals, yes, they are very racist, and they hide it. They hide it behind, oh, we want to get equality for black people, for the work they use minorities. And they hide behind the fake support that they have for us, when in return, if we're not supporting, or if we're not doing something that they want us to do, or if something happens and it's basically messing up their plans when it comes to the black community, the racism is going to come out. The racism came out when she found out that black children might not be aborted in the womb. And again, not surprising. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. This is I'm not even going to say crazy. It's just not surprising to me.
I'm sure that she didn't think she was being racist when she said that. I'm sure she thought that all the black women were going to be like, yeah, girl. And honestly, some of them might have been, there's the divest crowd on Twitter and the people that call black women bullet bags or whatever. So I'm so sure she had like 2 or 3 supporters. But I think she saw that going another way. But it really did speak to her psyche when she kind of let that out. Oh, black men. She had to specify black. But she tried to play it off by saying, oh, well, the white supremacists would be mad at a black man raping their daughter. Who wouldn't be mad about a man raping their daughter? Who wouldn't be mad about that? So she really tried it there. She really tried it. She was like, oh, my God, the existence of a half black baby. Like, okay, I guess. Like, it was just really trifling. I don't know. She deleted her account, so I guess she got the message.
She, well, I want to hear what you have to say, Rhonda, then I'm going to get into the deleting of her account. But you can go ahead, Rhonda, if you want to say anything about
it. So this happens. Black people are often used as a pawn, as a political football, as Malcolm X called it, in this game, in this back and forth, to push other groups' political agenda. So first of all, we have this woman basically using this racist stereotype of black men not being able to control themselves, being monsters, not being able to control their sexual urges. We've seen this throughout history. We've seen this when Hillary Clinton referred to black men as super predators to push the political agenda she wanted. When Joe Biden made us, I don't care about their upbringing or what would cause them to be this way. Even the man that, and his name is not coming to me, but the one that pushed the legislation of marijuana, right? Because, we don't want our daughters listening to this, smoking this weed and having sex, or fetishizing these black jazz musicians, right? So this has happened throughout history, where they use black people as the boogeyman, right? This monster, only for their own political agenda, and to push forward with, it's a white on white war. I mean, that's what it is. Like, let's just be honest. And so they'll either use us as the monster, right? Or it'll be the, oh, woe is me. We have to do, you have to keep abortions, because what about the poor black women?
Another one. That's what they do.
Yeah, political pawns. That's it.
Has a whole social media page, whole billboard campaigns dedicated to targeting black women. They even promote the lie that says it is more dangerous for a black woman to give birth than to have an abortion. Neither are that safe for Black women. Let me put that out there first. I totally understand that Black women's health care is not up to par compared to white Americans, and that's for a couple of different reasons. But the answer to that is to improve their health care, not to push up on them, not to put Planned Parenthood in their neighborhoods. Like, they're really showing their ass with that one.
Right. And I would say both sides try to use Black people, especially Black people. I would say mainly Black people as their pawns. It's either get off the Democrat plantation, or when it comes to Black people, when it comes to the right, or for the left, it's don't be a coon for Republicans. Like they're going to use us either way. And I think that's very hypocritical for both sides because they both call each other racist. Both. Mm-hmm. So, when it comes to her account, she actually brought her account back, reactivated it, and I'm going to read one of the tweets that she said. She basically said that I said something insanely awful and stupid on Twitter last night. The intent does not matter, so I will not attempt to defend or explain it. It was racist and has had racist impact. I am terribly sorry to anyone and everyone who read it and who were hurt by it. And she said some more stuff. Her account is deactivated again, so I don't know what the point of coming back was. I don't believe in cancel culture, but I will say she knew what she was doing. I really believe that she did. I really believe that she really thought she was doing something and that she was going to do something with that tweet, and it backfired on her. And now she's saying that she didn't know she was being racist when you knew that you were. It's complete BS to me.
Imagine that on a sign. Like, imagine a white woman standing outside the Supreme Court being like, and on the sign it's like, what if I get raped by a Black guy? I want abortion. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Illogical.
That was okay. That was crazy.
But hey, like I said, we're used to these people being racist. I'm going to give you another stat even when it comes to Planned Parenthood and how they've been racist to us. 79% of the Planned Parenthood facilities are located within walking distance of the Black communities. And this is according to protectingblacklife.org. Even when it comes to the creator of Planned Parenthood, she was a eugenist and followed after the likes of Charles Darwin, who believed in what? Survival of the fittest, which was a racist ideology that basically talked about individuals in a population or a community that are most likely to survive if they are fit. And we all know when it comes to survival of the fittest, they did not believe that Black people were the most fit and the most well off to survive. So I don't know. If you guys want to get into Margaret Sanger some more, we can. If not, we're going to move on. You guys have any more thoughts on her and Planned Parenthood in general?
I want to mention this. I find it very interesting how several years ago, the tobacco industry was on a chopping block for specifically how they were targeting Black communities, setting up shop in Black communities, making marketing and ads specifically targeting Black communities harder than any other communities, right? And how we don't way at Planned Parenthood, which sets up shop, right in these Black neighborhoods more than any other neighborhoods, while other people's neighborhoods get shops or medical facilities for fertility.
Mm-hmm. Olivia, any thoughts?
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what she was saying, a lot of progressives will complain about food deserts, they'll complain about liquor stores, they'll complain about tobacco products, they'll complain about all the predatory businesses, cash checking businesses that are all in the Black communities. That's on every corner. You got a cash spot, liquor store, in the little corner store that has nothing but junk food in it. And everybody will talk about how these are targeted towards the Black community. They're ruining our health. We're dying of, cholesterol and heart disease and cancer and liver failure and all these horrible things. But they don't apply the same logic to what the other business that's making money off of us, the other business that's in every single community on every single corner, like all those other stores. So yeah, it's cognitive dissonance. People don't want to believe it. It's a lot of hypocrisy, but it's also a lack of education. And again, to Rhonda and I's point earlier, we just got to be driving home the point more. This is what it is. This is what it does to your body. Let's talk to somebody who's gotten one. And of course, there's varying stories of anecdotal evidence. I'm sure there are women out there that don't regret it, but there are millions of women who do. So we should be hearing from them.
And I want to piggyback off of what you guys were talking about when it comes to health and how they're basically saying, oh, if abortion isn't legal, basically a lot of women are going to start dying because they're going to start getting basically back alley abortions, and it's not healthy for it basically not to be legal. But COVID, the masks that you guys were promoting wasn't healthy. No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. And they were promoting for us to use those a lot, especially when it comes to the Black community.
I mean, they were pushing on us the vaccine so hard.
And the vaccine, yes,
Because
not
the
healthy.
is still not even, I don't even think half of us are vaccinated. I'm not. And that's fine if anyone watching is. That's your choice. That's really your prerogative. And if you fall in that age range where you think COVID is a health problem for you, then like go ahead and do it. But it's just the way that they specifically target the Black community for these things. And also they're talking about, oh, the healthcare system ignores Black women. They ignore Black women's pain. Is an abortion provider going to somehow be more in tune with a Black woman's pain? I don't understand why they're so like hateful against doctors in the delivery room, trying to say that they ignore Black women and let them die on the table. When why would an abortion doctor not do the exact same thing? They don't care.
I mean, they want to target the Black community when it comes to everything. But what they did target us specifically for back in the day, especially, we were test subjects for a lot of stuff when it came to like government interference and a lot of these tests, these basically these tests. Like for instance, the Tuskegee, what happened with the Tuskegee experiment and what they did to them and how they used them to experiment and to figure out basically what's going to happen with that. And also when it comes to, I don't know her name specifically, but when it comes to gynecology and how they treated Black women and tested on Black women when it came to gynecology,
And
it's really
sterilized Black
crazy.
women and tied their tubes and removed their
Yes.
uteruses. Like this is not new. This could still be happening today, is happening today. I don't know why we would trust any of these doctors from these same organizations that, not too long ago were saying that Black people, Jewish people, disabled people were the others and should be exterminated like rats, basically.
I recently interviewed a woman on my YouTube channel, which I met while doing a Jubilee episode, which was supposed to be about women's rights, but actually, little did I know it was going to be about trans rights when I got there. Nonetheless, when I interviewed her, she happened to be very much pro-life, but that was after working for Planned Parenthood for like several years, I think maybe even over a decade. And it's one very just gruesome, awful story that she told me about was where this practitioner allowed this woman to leave with the baby's head still in her body. And so if you don't know, I am going to say this because I told Olivia we need to beat a horse because sometimes people don't know. I didn't know until maybe like a few years ago the procedure at a certain point where they have to dismember the body. They take the leg, they take the other leg, they take the arm, right? And they have to sit all of these body parts on a tray and account for them and sign off on it as the abortion is complete. Well, this doctor had signed off on this abortion as it was complete, but in fact, this woman had left with that baby's head, because that's what it was, it's a body part, still in her body. And I think that was one of the final straws for the young lady that was working for Planned Parenthood at the time. But these just atrocious, I mean, just awful instances of just medical malpractice that she was seeing, along with several other things, moved her over into being pro-life. But stories like that, for us to think that Black people could already be treated so badly in the medical field, in these medical facilities, and to think that that would not translate over to abortion is just absolutely naive. Even when you look at how Black people were treated initially during the COVID lockdowns and even going up to vaccines, you had actual scientists and doctors coming out mad. They were baffled that more people weren't dying from COVID in places in Africa. They were baffled.
They're so confused.
They were astounded. Like, what's going on with these Negroes in Africa that they aren't dying and getting sick like all these other people, that we can push the vaccine on them like we want to with this entire population that they have here, right? And then even with the vaccines, you literally had politicians coming out saying, "Oh, black people, we're gonna push you to the front of the line." You haven't pushed us to the front of the line for nothing else. Why you want to start now? This way you want to? This is your form of reparations? Like, what is this? What are we talking about right now?
They haven't given us any type of
policy.
Reparations. No, sir.
No policy.
Sir. No policy.
But you want to push us to the front of the line for your experimental inoculations.
And they said they wanted to test it in Africa first. I believe that was Bill Gates that said that he wanted to find.
Don't they want to put abortion clinics over in Africa anyways? They want to get rid of us, period.
Yeah, I think Melinda Gates is talking about, sending Planned Parenthood over to Africa. Like, why? What is so wrong with the African babies that they just have to be all vaccinated or dead?
There have been so many protests against Bill Gates across countries in Africa that people don't really talk about. It doesn't make the news.
Whose wife was it that gave money for basically for? Yes, she gave money basically for black children to be aborted.
Like billions of dollars to Planned Parenthood.
They want us going so bad, and people don't realize it. Then you have these stupid, and I'm gonna say it, I'm sorry, hopefully I don't get strikes on YouTube for saying stupid, but these stupid black feminists who, oh, you're a pick-me, oh no, you're a pick-me for basically going against abortion. And oh, you don't have a say-so in women's rights, women's bodies. Mind your own body.
They are the pickies, because guess what? Their man / baby daddy / whatever the fuck is saying, oh, yes, please get that abortion. I don't want the responsibility.
Right.
He don't want the responsibility, but he want access to your body. He want access to your to opening up your legs, and he want access to your womb, but he don't want the responsibility of taking care of what happens when he has access to your womb. Doesn't really make any sense to me. Still not adding up. Which leads me into my next point. And somebody basically asked in the comments, is there another answer or other ways in which we can prevent pregnancy instead of basically taking a life? And I talked about this on my Twitter. Yes, there are. And I can name some for you guys. We're all grown here, so we can talk about this, right? The number one thing, 100% effective, that can stop a pregnancy from happening is abstinence. 100% effective. Now people say, oh, that's not logical. We're all grown. People have sex. Okay, whatever. So something else, other things that can prevent pregnancy instead of just taking a life. Condoms, birth control, grown women tracking your ovulation. There's an app called Natural Cycles in which you can take your basal temperature every morning and basically plug it into the app, and it pinpoints your ovulation dates based on that temperature, based on your basal temperature. You don't have to take any medicine or anything. You don't have to put anything into your body. It's a non-hormonal birth control app that you could use. And Plan B, which basically prevents contraception from happening. All these ways in which you can prevent pregnancy instead of just killing a baby or taking a life. But people want to make it seem like abortion is birth control. It's not.
Don't have sex with random dudes. There's also that too. Like, it's so odd how people are like, women are fighting so hard for the opportunity to like have like random unfulfilling sex with random dudes who don't care about them, who don't really like have any emotional attachment to them. Like, it's like, feminism has really gone too far. I can say that first and second wave feminism, so we're not like owned by our husbands or whatever, like great, cool, whatever. But now we're at the point where we have kind of tricked ourselves into giving men whatever they want for really nothing in return. So it's like, we're going to go to work 50-50. You don't got to do nothing for me. Also, I'm going to go home and clean and, have your kids or whatever. And also you can have like reckless sex and you don't have any of the responsibility with any babies you got to raise. Like, doesn't make sense.
And why are you being sexually active with men who are broke, first of all, who won't be able to take care of a child if he gets you pregnant? That's not smart. That's not smart.
So let me say this, right? online it's so trendy to hashtag about the ancestors and being your ancestors' wildest dreams and speaking to the ancestors and all this other stuff. But in fact, we have gotten so far away from ancestors and our ancestral ties. Okay. Getting pregnant, our ancestors were not as heavily reliant on this medical system as we are. Okay, they were one with nature. They took care of their bodies, and they made it a priority to understand their bodies. If you are learning your body and stop relying so heavily on all of this Western medicine, you are only able to even get pregnant within a small window within each month. Okay.
The
It's
ovulation
literally
period.
called a cycle. A
Yeah.
cycle means that it is something that does the same thing every time. That's why it's called a cycle, right? So every single month, yeah, you're going to have some changes here and there, but you are absolutely able to learn your body and the signs of when your body is ovulating. You are able to learn the signs of when your cycle is, or your menstrual is about to start, right?
Right.
These are
But
things
you
that
have
if
PMS, right? PMS symptoms,
you have all
postnatal
type of
syndrome.
you have all type of symptoms. There are also herbs and things that you can use to prevent pregnancy as well. I posted some of this on my Instagram page, my second Instagram page, Rhonda Mary Vids, where I've talked about this stuff. And a couple of people that I follow, their names are not coming to me, that I follow on Instagram that talk about these things of ways to take back our bodies from the state, take back our bodies from this racist, uncaring, very brutal medical system that is, I mean, 100% based around money.
Mm-hmm.
We know this. We know this. The same people that pretend to be anti-capitalism are totally okay with leaving your baby's body parts with Planned Parenthood for them to just go on and do whatever they like with them. It's just very hypocritical to everything that we try to pretend that we're about or we stand for. And I really want women to take more autonomy and agency over your body, right? And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, I do not want to be offensive to rape victims. There have absolutely been women that have been raped. You will see a lot of these testimonials, especially recently on Twitter, where people are like, hey, my mom was raped. I'm so happy she didn't abort me. And like I've said, I've never been in that situation. I cannot say what that feels like for a woman to go through those emotions, right? So I'm not specifically speaking to those people, and I do want to have empathy in those situations. But for the other 93 to 96% of women that were in fact not raped, let's learn more about our bodies so we stop just fully relying on the state, the
Right.
government, the
The
doctors
government.
that have not proven that they deserve our trust. They have
Right.
not proven that they deserve our allegiance. If anything, they've proven time and time again that they cannot be trusted. And so it is very possible, all it takes is a little intention, right? You have all these women, they so intentional manifestation and all this and all that. Like, let's start living it and just stop talking about it, man. We got to stop talking about it and be about it.
In other
And we
words, what
don't
she's
need the
saying is,
government in our lives to do that. We don't
right.
need the government to do that.
In other words, basically what she's saying is, sisters, take responsibility. Don't run from responsibility. Take
And it's
responsibility.
not that hard. It's not as hard and as much guesswork as everybody is trying to make it out to be. It is not. And Charisse, you mentioned a very, very good solution. Let's talk about solutions, right? Let's not always, harp down on people because people go through things, people make mistakes, life happens. Humans can be horrible. It can be a range of reasons why a woman can find herself in situations. So let's not harp on that as much as offering women real-time solutions. One of those solutions being, if you download these apps and you start tracking your fertility, and you're making notes of what your body is doing during this cycle that happens every month, you'll start to notice. Oh, I had cramps on this day. Oh, I was feeling frisky on this day. Oh, my breasts were tender on this day. You're going to start paying attention to the signs that your body is giving you. You'll go into the office and you tell your doctor what the symptoms are, and they be sitting there having to Google it. So you know your body better than they do.
A lot of people are distracted though. They're distracted. They're trying to find a man. They're trying to see, oh, how can I get over on him today? But you're doing all of that, but you're not taking responsibility to learn more about your body. And that's a problem, especially if you're a grown woman. You know what happens when you have sex with a man, especially without a condom. You know what happens. You know what can happen. So why not take responsibility, track that ovulation, or find other ways in which you can prevent that pregnancy instead of just being careless and then resulting to killing your baby when you don't have to do that. That can all be prevented if you just take the time to learn your body. That was my last point. I don't know if you guys have any more points concerning everything that we talked about tonight.
I would just say, to respond to Rhonda's point about the rape part, I'll say, someone who does have, who has been victimized in that sort of way. I was raped when I was 15 years old. I would have gotten an abortion at the time. I thought I was pregnant. I ended up not being pregnant. Thank the Lord I was not. It is such a touchy subject because, like, if a 15-year-old was raped and he turned out to be a serial rapist, like he raped, like, I don't want to get all trauma dump and stuff, but it was like a really crazy situation. I was in danger. If I had this man's child, I would have been in more danger. Like, it really is very, very tricky. So that's why I do support having a window at the time, before the heartbeat starts beating, because that's where I believe life starts. I know that a lot of people, Christians, Catholics, will believe it starts at conception, and I respect that belief. But coming from a more, secular standpoint, I think that we can all should be able to compromise, because Christians should be happy if we make it to the 9-week or 12-week stance. That's less abortion. That means it's more rare. That means that women or girls or children who have been raped do have that a few week window to take care of if they do choose so. And I also support people who have been raped who do not choose that. I commend them. I mean, they're stronger than me. I really, really respect women who have done that. I know women who have done that. I know somebody else. I know another girl who was raped at 15 who was impregnated, and unfortunately she lost her baby, but she was keeping that baby. So it can really go either way, and it's just important to be respectful of people's experiences with that.
Right.
Not anyone was disrespectful. I just wanted to say yours.
And I'm gonna say I experienced that as well. I didn't face any pregnancy or nothing, but I don't want to really get into it. I might get into it later on, like maybe down the line in my channel, because I haven't really talked about it with people, except for like my mentors and stuff who helped me through that counseling. But I will say, if something would have happened when it comes to that, I wouldn't have terminated it. But that's just me, Rhonda, do you have anything else that before I end this?
Yes, I want to say that this is another perfect reason why it's also important to support Second Amendment rights. When we don't support Second Amendment rights, it's oftentimes women that get the short end of the stick, regardless of what they try to make us believe. A man is not a woman, and a woman is not a man. And it's very rare that you're going to find a woman that is going to be able to overpower and abuse her. And so if your body, right, is under attack, and if your life is under attack, if you are in imminent danger, you absolutely deserve to defend your life and your personhood. That's just it. That's just the end of story. And we must support and remind women of these rights and let them know that we don't want you to feel as vulnerable. We want you to be able to protect yourself. And we know that unfortunately, the police is not going to always get there in time
Nope.
to make these
That's the
things
perfect
stop.
answer.
And
That is
so
the
Yeah.
once again, this is women's empowerment. This is women's empowerment, taking our bodies back from a racist medical system, taking our autonomy and our self-protection back, not outsourcing everything to the state that time and time again has failed us.
Right. And for me, I didn't trust the police, so I didn't go to them. And I know that's how a lot of women feel. I know a lot of people say, yeah, you should have reported it. But I know a lot of people that don't trust the police.
I did go to the police and they didn't do shit. So again,
I thought it was just pointless.
arm yourselves, take care of yourselves, know your body, and don't let the man or the government or your boyfriend or your husband stop you from, taking ownership of your own body and your own protection. Because at the end of the day, for any individual, regardless of your gender or race, it's up to you.
I think that's it, ladies. I would say this was a great discussion. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope we can do this again. Everyone, again, please make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. And if you would like to support me in any way, don't forget to click those links that I have down below in the description. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you guys later. Bye. Can you guys say bye, please?
Thank you.
Bye.